folks. This is Shekhar Raman again at the Retail Perch, along with our co-host Gary. Hi, Gary. How you doing?
Great, Shaker. Great to be with you again. Looking forward to a really interesting discussion today.
Yes. Today we happen to have another very special guest with us, somebody that Gary and I have known for a few years, but somebody who's very well respected in the industry, has a long, illustrious career, and is doing some pretty exciting things. So I want to welcome onto the show at the Retail Perch, Nir Pilo. Hi, Nir. How are you doing?
I'm great. Good morning. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for hosting me today.
Oh, terrific. We've been looking forward to this. So just so you guys know how prepared Nir is for this, we chatted with Nir a couple of weeks ago, and he wanted to make sure he was prepared with all his points to give the best he can on this retail podcast. So, for all of you guys who are listening, I suggest you listen intently because you're going to get some amazing nuggets, and we're looking forward to it today. So Nir, why don't you take it off? Just give us a little quick background about where you came from, your career so far, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. I think just a fun fact on where I started my career in loyalty and how Gary is actually connected to it. I think it's worthwhile to introduce it also to the audience. So how do I get introduced to Gary in the first time without him actually knows me? So somewhere, it was around 2008. I was a younger product manager at Vitalix, which is a retail software company in Israel that later on acquired by NCR. So back in 2008, Vitalix was building the loyalty solution. And the former product manager decided to leave the company. His name was Saul Simon. I think, Gary, you know him, right?
Oh, yes, quite well.
Saul Simon was a great leader and leave a great legacy behind him. He was a pioneer in his field, together with a strong team that achieved amazing results. So before he left the company, he gave a present to anyone in the team, and you may know he gave us a book, and the book was named Customer Intelligence. I think you're familiar with it now.
Just a bit.
So actually, I don't know if you see here, behind me, I have actually the 3 books of Gary, and near it, there is like the Tesco of Clive Humby, talking about the Tesco loyalty and so on. So all of that legacy is behind me. So this is how I got introduced to Gary, and once I get to know Gary and work with him, it was very exciting. It needs to say that many of our patterns in the customer analytics system that we developed was based on that book. It's an analytics system that works even until today, and great patterns that anyone should know about them. When talking about customer loyalty. So this was a fun fact that stays with me, and this is how I get introduced to loyalty as well. Yeah.
And I think, just to interrupt you for a second, Nir, I think it's worth calling out to the audience that it was really Retalix and Retalix loyalty that really powered up the whole space for certainly supermarket retail, right? I mean, yours was the first system and solution that really enabled retailers to not only collect all this information, be able to analyze it, gain insight from it, and then take action on it, all in a live environment back through that transaction at checkout. So, remains incredibly powerful.
Yes, it was very innovative back then when Vitalix has a lot of customer, starting from the point of sale. But then when you start building on those building blocks like the point of sale and the transaction, and start giving a system like a loyalty system, and they're interconnected very easily, so it was also very easy for retailer to pick you and choose you and rely you on the trust you earned during the years. But then you have the momentum of many retailers working with your system, then you have a lot of experience gains into the product. So it's a multiplier in terms of the amount of feature, functionality, and customers all around the globe that at the end of the day, all of that knowledge concentrate into one place. And I think this was an amazing journey, in the last 20 years at least.
Yes.
That's fantastic. I mean, we have folks. We have two people here who've got a lot of history, and the fact that you guys know each other from many years ago, and I guess in some way influenced each other's paths. That's pretty amazing. So Nir, you've been with Retalix and NCR for close to what, 20 years? Is that right?
Yeah.
Almost 20 years. So, so tell us a little bit more. I mean, what did you do there, and where did after 2008, how did you obviously worked with some major clients around the world on loyalty. I'd love to hear a little bit more about your experiences.
So basically, I started as an engineer on somewhere around 2000, and passed my way to lead R&D teams with many different products in the retail industry. My primary job, at the beginning was like software management for inventory management, and then a kind of ERP solution for the convenience store. On 2008, I was offered to take the ownership on the loyalty product in Retalix, which was very exciting time back then because it was something with a lot of demand in the market, in terms of loyalty. And since 2008 and later on down the road on 2012, Retalix loyalty product awarded by Gartner as part of their CRM landscape research as #1 product in the market in terms of loyalty functionality and what it can bring to the market and the number of retailers that we worked with. So this was a great recognition to an amazing team, which at the end of the day developed the product. And somewhere around that time, Retalix acquired by NCR. I served in different product management position and also relocate to Atlanta. This is why I'm not talking to you from Israel. I'm actually in the United States for the last 4 years. And at the peak time in NCR, I was ended up a director of loyalty solution across NCR industries in retail, hospitality, and banking, and part of the next generation platform back then responsible on customer data and promotion and loyalty service, which was like a microservice type of platform that NCR developed. And the loyalty solution we developed deployed across many of tier 1 retailers like A.S. Watson, Kohl's, Woolworth, Rite Aid, Safeway, Speedway, and many, many more great retailers that I don't think I have time to mention all of the name, that we're working, we're working with hundreds of retailers across thousands of stores and running millions of customers each day. And this was a great journey for me. And basically be part of a very talented team, which did a lot of effort and working in NCR up until today.
Wow. So pretty much you've seen loyalty and promotion engines kind of grow globally across multiple retail verticals.
Yes, and it was very exciting. The thing about retailers and retailers, that each retailer you came across by is very unique, right? At the end of the day, yes, everybody, have a point of sale and they're selling, but if you are looking at the technology and the business challenges that each one present to you, it's really unique. And also in different geos and different countries, you have different challenges. And our challenge was how you try to remain a product and not to go into a very customized solutions that at the end of the day will take the product apart. And this was the big challenge, how you take all of that and push it into a nimble product that keep a strong architecture, and we had a lot of sleepless night because of that, but it was worth it.
Neat. So, Nir, working with many tier 1 retailers, markets around the world, I gotta believe gave you some unique insight into challenges and some of the headaches these retailers faced as they went down this loyalty journey. Looking back on that, what do you think were, or maybe probably continued to be, the couple big challenges retailers face?
So this is a great question, Gary. And let me start by a story. It reminds me when I started my early career as a developer somewhere around 2002. I was working in the office at night. It was 2 a.m. at clock. I wasn't married. I had all of the time in the world to make my career. I did some coding for inventory management software, and then at 2 o'clock at night, the COO is coming to the office. His name was Avinoam. Our eyes met through the windows, and he came to say hi, and we started to chat. And I was asking him, as a very young person in my early career, how do you manage this balagan? Balagan is a Hebrew word for mess, because you're working with many customers, and each
Right.
one has its unique perspective. And as a younger developer, it was intriguing me, the way leaders work with customer and manage the day to day. So he said to me, it's not about managing, it's about minimizing the mess. And this was like enlightening to me. And I think it also true to retailer. I mean, retailer has a lot of systems. They're trying to come fast to the market. Many of them you can see, legacy point of sale that you're building patch on patch. And you cannot come in one day and just replace the technology, because it doesn't work like that. Not from expenses, not from time to market. So you need to maximize the value and try to make the most out of it. Sometimes you have to refresh, but you always try to be creative. And this is one of the things that we actually saw with retailers, and we kind of bring with our loyalty solution. So in the last years, I would say in the last even 10 years, the ultimate goal of retailer was to evolve into retail omnichannel, right? While many do that, they found some limited constraint in the ability to make change and execute. So think about many companies that had able to bring click and collect functionality, bring the e-commerce, point of sale, self-checkout devices, and make them work together. While it looks great from the outside, when you go back to the technology and the architecture, you find out that it's not as nice as it looks, because those components are most likely are built up from different technologies, different vendors. Some of them are homegrown, and the promotion engine, the price engine, the tax engine, all of those components either monolithics in one component, and when you want to make a change, it's a nightmare.
Right.
So the business want to make a change, and then the time to market, the cost of change, just eliminating retailers to make the change in an efficient time, and this is what creates frustration.
Right.
So not only that, they are limited with the change, because if the e-commerce can do something and the point of sale cannot do it, or vice versa, retailer will prefer to give the same seamless experience across the channel rather to try to operate a different feature. And this is, in our time, this is not working anymore. The business is very powerful. The competition is fierce, so they want to act fast. And many times when we had to find a way how to enable the retailers without doing like a full refresh to all of those components. So what we did basically, and this is what we evolved during the year, we actually able to decouple the promotion and loyalty engine, which is one of the most maybe complicated. It has thousands of scenarios. It has hundreds of sources that is coming in. Think about manufacturer coupons. Think about merchandise promotion, marketing promotion, loyalty discount. How you get all of that richness into a single engine, operate it, and at the end of the day, explain to the customer what he actually got in the ticket. How you make conflict optimization, stacking, refund processes, all of that, it's something that we were able to put in the promotion and loyalty engine. So if you're looking on the challenge of retailers, one of the things, when you come to a tier one retailer, so he may acquire a company, and now we have two brands with two different technology, two different e-commerce. Sometimes he have it in the same brand, different technology, because he has franchisee.
Right.
Sometimes he has, if he has fuel station and grocery, so most likely you will find two different point of sales with different technology, different IT, and so on. And the retailer thinks about, they cannot replace all of that, how they can find a common denominator that at the end of the day, not only will give them value, but extending the life of the point of sale without doing a refresh to the hardware or the software. Because bear in mind, many of those you will find that the hardware is very low. So you cannot put a great technology. Sometimes you find, for example, IBM point of sale, which is limited in extensibility. So there is many, many, many challenges. And what we did during this year is that we were able to take the promotion engine and loyalty with all of the knowledge we gained from retailers. It's actually decoupled from the point of sale, and you can connect it to any point of sale out there. It can be also a location agnostic. So it means that it can run on the point of sale, it can run on the store level, it can run on the cloud, and you can operate your point of sale from anywhere you want to gain this functionality. So it was very flexible, very kind of location and hardware agnostic, and at the end of the day, it aggregates all of the promotion sources, manufacturer, coupon, merchandise, marketing, loyalty, discount, and did all of the calculation to give you, at the end of the day, a single result. Now, the big thing about that is that when you make, there is a saying like you build once and you maintain forever, right?
Right.
So the big thing about that is that the maintenance, if you want to make a change, you do it basically only in one place. And this was the amazing thing around that.
So kind of like a centralized maintenance.
Exactly.
One place to fix and maintain everything. So I mean, I can imagine that must have that's pretty big, because now you're easing the whole process of managing an enterprise. You may have disparate POS systems, but it's kind of like all the rivers are flowing into the ocean, and this central engine is managing all of that data and executing all of those things. And the point of sale is simply just validating the transaction, right? But that's basically what we're talking about, having a point of sale system that is doing just that, which is scan and validate transactions against a promotion engine that's sitting in the cloud.
And yes. I think that's a big call out for a lot of retailers, right? That they need to change how they think about promotion delivery and their POS systems and so on, and get their head around the idea that they need to have a promotion engine that is separate and apart from their POS systems, from their e-commerce systems, other omnichannel points of contact with the shopper, that can be one point of managing all these promotions, as Nirs called out, flowing in from digital coupons from brand manufacturers, merchandising, marketing, other parts of the organization.
Yeah. So Nir, do you see a distinction between how let's say tier 1, tier 2, and the smaller independents behave when it comes to loyalty and promotion? I mean, have you seen distinctions there?
I think by the way, I heard your podcast with Ron Bonacci, which I really admire his work during the retail. It was a great endorsement for our loyalty solution back then, I think on KVAT.
Right.
And it was, I would say kind of a mid-sized retailer that did really amazing stuff with the loyalty around coupon marketing and coupon printing and segmentation. So at the end of the day, we were able to deliver our technology to mid-size and big retailers. But the main distinction that I see in terms of the leaders, the tier 1 in the market, the big one, and they are all about best of breed. So they were able to get the best of breed of any system. So get the campaign management, the best system in campaign management, in machine learning, and our promotion and loyalty product, the point of sale, and they were able to invest and make the connection to make it the most beneficial for them. While for the smaller retailer, I would say, I mean, it's hard to invest in the best of breed, so they will try to get to maximize working in one vendor and to maximize all of the capabilities that he has. And there will be some trade-off out of that. And sometimes, some of the small retailers also, because they cannot invest in separating the promotion engine from the e-commerce they choose and so on, so they will find themselves at the end of the day, from architectural perspective, some kind disparate in terms of the technology. And at the end of the day, also they will have probably some limitation across that, across the year when they evolve. So this is the primary things I see. The most one, the tier retailer that we work with, where put a lot of budget at the end of the day on the side, just not only to purchase the product, but also, I mean, the most successful retailer I saw actually invested in our product. So they actually put a core team. They spent people and money just to develop features for themselves.
Wow.
By that, they are not only gain the product functionality that was involved from other retailers, but they were also able to speed up their processes inside and get whatever they want from the product, obviously in a productized way. And the use case that we saw that was one of, I think, the enlightening of my career is at the end of the day, we had a customer, AS Watson, which a friend of mine is working there. Its name is Ohad, which was a great contributor to the success of what happened there. And at the end of the day, it was a product that was deploying, I think, more than 20 countries from a single environment operating in an omnichannel fashion, both e-commerce and the point of sales and the checkout devices. And
Wow.
each country is independently working alone. It could be hundreds of transactions per second working on the e-commerce at the end of the day. Oh. And this was just showing how you get, one product that's able to work in multiple geographies with multiple regulation, if you may like, with multiple loyalty discount into one place in an omni-channel fashion. Now think about if they don't have this product and each country has to do separate alone or different technologies. So it's just, it's a multiplier.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So, we in our show, we talk a lot about innovation and disruption and, retail is famously or infamously, not necessarily the fastest to adopt latest technologies, for obvious reasons, because they don't want to change as much. What do you, from your perspective, what have you seen? Obviously you've seen new tech and new processes come up at NCR and Retalix, and sometimes retailers are not as fast to adopt and innovate, right? And what do you see as blockers that you think has stopped them from doing that?
First of all, I want to say that I also saw many retailers that are amazingly creative and did really amazing things. And I think at the end of the day, when you meet retailers and even other companies in different industries, at the end of the day, many of them are, when you look from the face value, they're doing something with innovation.
Right.
And there is a couple of things to that. First of all, I would say, innovation is a game of numbers. The more you do, the more you fail, the more you learn from it, and you become a better learner at the end of the day. So, and you need to be quickly get in time to market, because if you have an innovative idea and you wait half a year, probably someone already taken care. And think about innovation, it's taken to grow for many couple of years. Think about your startup in Birdseye, right? You have a great idea, great innovation, but it takes time to grow at the end of the day, to enter the market. But I want to talk on that from a different point. I would say that at the end of the day, for innovation, you need to unleash the creativity, make it easy, make the innovation accessible from your age of the organization. At the end of the day, innovation is about inspiration coming from continuous listening for unexpected,
Right.
people across the organization. It can come from any time and anywhere. And the question is, at the end of the day, first, how you cultivate this innovation, how you take this all good ideas across of your organization that actually knows the field, knows the customer, and able to do something with that. So the idea, I think, is when I put one finger, and there is many, and it's like a secret sauce, but when I put one finger on what happens in retailers, it's about the retail organization and retail architecture. And I can talk about it a little bit more. This is like one principle out of many. The retail organization and retail architecture, in most cases, are complicated. They're highly regulated. The time to implementation is long. I have a customer that said, to release a version to the store cost me $60,000 and it's taken me half a year. So, when you're measuring innovation and you want to implement something and you have an idea and you know that you need to wait half a year, and work on all of the gatekeepers in the organization just to understand you and say yes, most likely you will not get the idea out of the gate.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
Not only you're not going to get the idea out of the gate, you most likely will forget it before you want even to do something with it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So the pace of innovation is slow. I don't say they're not innovating, but it's slow. From number perspective, maybe it's low numbers than a lot of numbers to do innovation, because as many as you try, most likely in one of them you succeed.
Right.
But you need to try a lot. Innovation is hard.
Right.
And there are many reasons why to prioritize in projects on top of anything else. I had customers said, I really like to do the project, but I have an EMV to take care of. Right?
Right.
I have and the innovation is more likely dictated by the competition that enforce you to keep pace with the market,
right,
rather than experiment rapidly and continuously.
Correct.
So I think again, many retailers are innovating, but the question is how much, how they're cultivating the innovation, and to make it more of a game of numbers.
Yeah. So I guess to summarize, you're saying, so innovation is a game of numbers. You need to be able to, iterate quickly, and somehow get your ideas into market. Without failure, you really can't succeed at innovation. It kind of seems contradictory, but that's kind of like the foundation of innovation, right? Is you need to have quick failures, learn quickly, iterate quickly, and bring it to market. And I guess that requires a change in the culture and the retail organization about going out. And we've talked to some retailers on our podcast, and sometimes it's not necessarily easy to change the culture of a retail organization towards innovation. It can take some time, but I guess what you're saying is it's worth it, because once you do it, then it's easy to bring that innovation process internal and bring it to market. Yeah, I think they're all terrific points, and I can't wait to talk about in the next podcast about your experience. Now I know, Nir, so you moved on from NCR and Retalix to AWS now, correct? You've been with AWS now a couple of years, all right?
Yes, unfortunately, I left the retail industry. It was a hard decision for me that I had to negotiate with myself. Why should I do that? However, I can say that I think I gave my time to the retail industry, which I really like, and I decided to pursue something, more kind of technical in the cloud, and obviously I left to AWS. So I think everybody knows AWS, no need for explanation, but what I'm doing there, I'm a program manager.
Oh, let me pause you there for a second, because what we'll do is we'll take a break. We're going to close out this episode. And I mean, it's been fantastic talking to you about retail, and I can't wait to talk to you about the next subject. So folks who listen to this episode, just hang on. The next episode, we're going to talk to Nir a little bit more about what he's been doing at AWS, how innovation works at Amazon. There's going to be a whole bunch of really interesting and exciting stuff.